You're listening to The Authenticity Show, where you get to eavesdrop on great conversations about health, creativity, and the quest for excellence. Your hosts are Carlos Casados and Satch Purcell. In this episode, we have the return of Vlado Ilic and Ivan Polic, who we spoke with back in October of 2019 for episode 63. Now, I got to say, I actually attended a family constellation seminar, which was led by Vlado, the weekend after we recorded this. And if you haven't experienced a family constellations workshop before, I highly recommend it. It was truly an amazing experience. So, like before, Vlado is speaking a little bit of English, but mostly Serbian, and translated by Ivan. So we begin by talking about the field, what the field is, and we get a little bit mystical with that, and then we get deep into love and family and orgasms, spiritual orgasms, and so much more. So here we go with Vlado Ilic and Ivan Polic.
Well, good evening, Satch.
Good evening, Carlos.
Here we are again with our dear friends Vlado and Ivan for round two on a discussion about constellations and all sorts of great stuff. I'm really excited. How about you?
I'm very excited. I know that there's a workshop this weekend.
Yep.
Right? And I'm going to miss it, unfortunately. But one of these days I plan to be there. So I got to soak up as much as I can right now.
Yes, that's what we're going to do. So Ivan and Vlado, welcome back. Vlado, you came all the way from Serbia right now. So
now I come from Switzerland.
Oh,
okay.
Very good. Very good.
Did you learn any yodeling while you were there?
No.
Darn it, I was hoping. How about, what is it, Lederhosen? Is that what I'm thinking? Lederhosen?
No. Lederhose. It's Bavarian thing.
Oh,
Lederhose. I live in Bavaria.
Okay.
But I don't have lederhose, but my son have actually yesterday the 21st birthday.
Wow.
And but without lederhose.
Lederhosen free. How many children do you have?
7.
7 children?
No way.
Yes.
This man has been busy.
Wow, you know how this happens, right? I mean, this is, wow. 7 children. Well, how old is the oldest and the youngest?
The oldest, 34, I think. And youngest is 1 month.
You have a 1-month child? Oh,
Yes.
my goodness. Wow. And you have all this energy to fly all over the world? Oh, my goodness. Wow. That's amazing. Having a 1-month-old child, after having so many children, are you always learning something new with each child? Now that you have a 1-month-old, what has this last month been like for you?
My children are my best teachers.
Yeah.
That's a very profound statement.
Yeah. Nicely done. Yeah, that's good. What about Ivan? Do you have kids?
I have 2 boys, 13 and 17.
So you have only 5 more children to go, and then you've caught up with Vlado.
I think we're going to go in different directions.
You don't need any more teachers?
I think that's probably not in the cards for us. But Vlado has the unique capacity for this kind of thing that I don't have.
Well, he does family constellations, so
Yeah, that's true.
You know, he's building his own constellation at home. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, the last discussion we had in this room was really deep. You know, it was a deep, soulful, connected conversation. And it's fun that we're entering into this with a little bit of lightness. And yet, we have questions about the things that we spoke about last time that would be fun to dive into. One of the things that came up, actually, our producer, Oliver, was asking to get a little more into what is the field exactly? And is it something just like an idea, or is it an actual experience? Or could you help us to understand what the field is more?
Šta je Bog?
What is God?
polje je uvek prisutno.
Field is ever present.
Mi smo uvek u polju
We are always in it,
i polje uvek vibrira u nama.
and the field is always vibrating inside us.
Ali kada smo u komunikaciji, na primjer sa jednom osobom, to može biti više osoba, ali najjednostavnije da shvatimo sa jednom osobom,
But when we're communicating with one person, it could be multiple people, but for simplicity case, let's use the one person example.
ili u komunikaciji s mačkom,
Or in a communication with a cat, let's say.
kao što smo imali mogućnost da vidimo kad smo se pozdravljali sada,
As we had the moment with the cat
Right.
when we were saying hello,
ili bilo kojim drugim bićem,
or any other kind of being,
osetimo specifičnu vrstu vibracije
we feel a specific kind of vibration.
i već tu osetimo dinamiku i dubinu polja.
And that's already there. We are starting to feel the depth and the dynamics of the field.
Ta vibracija utiče na naše emocije.
And that vibration affects our emotions.
Dakle, mi, teli ili ne, utičemo ne samo na sopstvene emocije, nego i na emocije osobe ili bića s kojim smo u komunikaciji.
And we are affecting it, affecting the person, affecting the being, regardless whether we want to or not.
To je na površini,
And that's the surface level.
ali onda možemo ići malo dublje.
But then we can go deeper than that.
Mi nismo samonikli.
We are not self-sown.
Mi smo nastavak nečeg mnogo većeg.
We are an extension of something much bigger.
Na primjer, naše porodice.
For example, our family.
U nama živi naš tata.
In us, our father is alive.
Istovremeno žive i njegovi roditelji.
And simultaneously, our father's parents live in us as well.
I njihovi roditelji.
And the parents of those parents.
Nesagledivo velika reka predaka koji su uzimali život i davali ga dalje sve do našeg oca.
A huge river of ancestors preceded all of those people all the way forward to our father.
U nama boravi naša mama.
In us, we also have our mothers.
Isto tako, dok ona boravi u nama, boravi istovremeno u nama i njeni roditelji.
And while she lives inside us, her parents live inside us as well.
I njihovi roditelji i tako redom.
And the parents of the parents also live inside us.
I
And
tu,
all the way back.
I tu imamo jednu veliku, nesagledivo veliku reku predaka.
And there we also have an immense river of ancestors.
I spajanjem naših roditelja smo nastali mi.
And with the connection of our parents, we came to be.
U našoj genetskoj strukturi imamo kompletan zapis svih emocija.
Inside of our genetic structure, we have a complete record of all emotions,
Svih naših predaka.
of all of our ancestors.
Doživljaja,
Events,
trauma,
traumas,
orgazama.
orgasms,
Didn't have to translate that one. I knew what that one was.
Svega što je ikad doživljeno.
all of the things that have ever been experienced by our ancestors.
Strahova isto tako.
Fears also.
Sve u nama.
All of it is inside of us.
Neverovatno je koliko informacija može da stane u tom jednom genomu.
It's incredible how much information can fit in a genome.
Najveći deo je nama nedostupan.
Most of that information is not accessible to us.
Govorimo o podsvesti,
We're talking about the unconscious,
o nesvesnom.
subconscious,
Govorimo o porodičnom nesvesnom.
and we're talking about the family, collective unconscious,
Govorimo o kolektivnom nesvesnom.
the collective beyond the family unconscious,
O kolektivnom nesvesnom jednog naroda.
the collective unconscious of a group of people, of a tribe, of a nation,
I tako dalje, sve do Akaše,
all the way to the akasha,
za koju se veruje da su sva znanja, sve emocije u Akaši.
for the akashic fields that people believe that everything that ever existed is recorded there.
Da li je Akaša polje?
Is that the field that we're talking about?
I onda da se vratimo na početak, znači imamo komunikaciju dva bića,
And now to come back to the beginning, we have the communication of two beings.
sva ta znanja koja su, na primjer, u meni,
All of those knowings that are inside of me, for example,
u mom individualnom nesvesnom,
in my individual unconscious,
u mom porodičnom nesvesnom,
in my family unconscious,
u mom narodskom nesvesnom
in the unconscious of my people,
i tako dalje, izaziva reakciju sa osobom s kojom sam u komunikaciji.
everything that I am, everything that I bring causes a reaction with the person I'm communicating with.
I opet dolazimo sa podsvesnim osobe s kojom govorim, s kojom sam u komunikaciji,
And the unconscious of the person I'm communicating with,
sa podsvesnim njene porodice,
and the unconscious of the family of the person I'm speaking with,
sa podsvesnim njenog naroda,
and the
nacije.
unconscious of her nation.
I kad idemo dalje, opet dolazimo do Akaše.
And the wider we go, we get to the akashic fields again.
I u toj dubini smo ponovo u istome zajedno, u istom polju, jedinstvenom polju.
And when we go that deep, we're again together in the field together.
I izazivamo emocije. Ja u osobi, osoba u meni.
Emotion gets triggered with each other and by each other.
I u zavisnosti na kom se nivou nalazimo,
And depending on what level we're on,
možemo da se zaljubimo jedno u drugo,
we can fall in love,
a možemo da mrzimo jedno drugo,
we could fall into hate,
ili da se plašimo jedno drugo.
or we can fall into fear,
Potpuno iracionalno,
completely irrationally,
bez jednog razloga.
without any reason, without any cause.
Svaki susret je bogatstvo.
Every encounter is a treasure.
I u svakom susretu možemo dozvoliti sebi da naučimo nešto jedno od drugog.
And in every encounter, we can allow ourselves to learn something from each other.
Utoliko možemo dodirnuti i ljubav
We can touch love.
u nama i u osobi s kojom smo u komunikaciji,
We can touch the love inside of us and inside of the person we're communicating with.
ali isto tako možemo i dodirnuti ono, to nismo spremni da neko drugi dodiruje o nama i nismo spremni da se suočimo s time.
But we can also touch things that we're not really ready to face, that we're not ready for people to see. All of those possibilities that are present.
Dokle god nismo spremni u očima drugog, u ogledalu duše drugog, vidimo sebe.
As long as we're not ready to see ourselves in the mirror of the soul of the other person.
Da u duši drugog prepoznamo sebe
To recognize ourselves in the soul of the other.
i da se suočimo i sa tim što nam se kod drugog ne sviđa, da shvatimo da je to što nam se ne sviđa isto naše.
And when we don't like something in another, to realize that that's part of us as well.
Opet ovdje da podsjetim da smo na kraju krajeva potpuno isti u akaši svi.
And I want to remind us that in the Akashic field, if you would, we're all the same.
Dakle, dokle god nam to ne pođe za rukom, nalazimo se na putu samoće i usamljenosti.
As long as we are not able to connect and recognize ourselves in the other, we are on the path of loneliness and aloneness.
To se ogleda u partnerskim odnosima, vrlo jednostavno.
In intimate relationships, it's very apparent very quickly.
Da li zaista poznajemo voljenu osobu?
Do we really know our intimate partner?
Da li smo voljenoj osobi zaista dozvolili da nas poznaje, da nas upozna?
Did we really reveal our true self to our partner?
Da li smo spremni na to?
Are we ready to reveal our true self?
Ili trošimo energiju na tome da se stalno pokazujemo u nekom drugom svetlu?
Or are we investing our energy to present ourselves in some light
I glumimo nešto što nismo.
and acting to be something we are not?
Mnogo energije se troši pri tome.
Immense amounts of energy get wasted in that way.
Energije koje bi zapravo mogle da se iskoristi za jedan bogat život.
That's the energy that could be used for a very rich life.
I za vrhunce orgazama koji nam nisu poznati do onog trenutka kad se potpuno predamo.
They could be used for peaks of orgasms that are not familiar to us until we fully surrender.
I onda orgazam postane spiritualan.
And then in that moment, the orgasm becomes spiritual.
Onda smo potpuno spojeni.
We're completely connected with ourselves.
Jer tek kad smo potpuno spojeni sa sobom, možemo da uživamo u spojenosti sa voljenom osobom.
And only when we're fully connected with ourselves, we can fully connect with the other and be fully immersed in pleasure.
I to onda više nije samo nekakvo telesno uživanje,
And that is not at that point a physical pleasure anymore.
već je kompletan spiritualni doživljaj.
It's a complete spiritual event.
It sounds like what you're describing is diving in more deeply into your authentic self so that more of you can experience something, even the parts of you that you haven't discovered yet.
Tako je.
So this river of life that flows throughout ourselves, flows through our beings, which connects us to countless generations and potentially outward to even people who are not genetically related to us, exists within this field which contains everything we can imagine, including the holograms of our DNA that contain countless information, and all of this exists within this field which you're describing.
Yeah.
Satcher, it reminds me of the Buddhist quote about not confusing the moon for the finger pointing at it.
Yeah.
Because it's so much more. So we're talking about the field, we're talking about just a word, but it's something so big, so much beyond that. And there's an experience of it which goes beyond the definition itself.
Yeah, yeah. As you were describing everything about the field, I had an image of myself projecting a movie about things that I'm not aware of.
Da. To je vrlo česta zamka.
It's a common trap.
U svakom međuljudskom odnosu.
It's a trap in relating in any kind of relationship.
Najdublje možemo osetiti to u partnerskom odnosu, u ljubavnom partnerskom odnosu.
In intimate relationships, we can feel it the deepest.
Ali već i u odnosu ako smo zaposleni u nekoj firmi, u nekoj organizaciji.
It can also happen organizationally in a company.
Ako nemamo rešen odnos sa ocem,
If we don't have solved relationship with our father,
vrlo lako može da nam se desi da ćemo da na svog pretpostavljenog da projektujemo oca.
Very easily we can project our father onto our boss,
I ako toga nismo svesni,
even though we may not be aware of it at all.
prvo ćemo da se osjećamo ugodno u toj firmi.
At first, we will feel comfortable in that company
Jer tu smo dobili sigurnost.
because we received our stability, certainty, our security. All of those things happen as we join the company.
Kao sigurnost koju smo trebali, možda jesmo, možda nismo, osjećati, to jest osjećali u odnosu sa ocem.
The security that we were looking for from our father, we found in that company.
I u tom osjećanju upadamo upravo u tu zamku o kojoj si pričao.
And in that feeling, we fall into the trap of what you just described.
Počinjemo da projektujemo na šefa sve one emocije, naravno to radimo nesvesno, koje smo imali ili koje gajimo prema ocu.
We start to project all the emotions that we feel towards our father onto our boss without being aware of it.
I tu kreću očekivanja.
And expectations start to arise.
Očekujemo da će ona praznina koja je nastala u nama zbog nerešenog odnosa sa ocem, da će tu prazninu da nam popuni šef.
And we start to expect that the void that we feel in our relationship with our father will be filled by our boss.
Takva vrsta projekcije se nikad ne izgovara.
That kind of projection is never verbalized.
Ali naš šef osjeća da od njega očekujemo previše.
But our boss feels that we expect too much from him.
I osjeća da to ne može da pruži.
And feels that he cannot deliver on such expectations.
I počinje da se ljuti na nas.
And starts to get angry with us.
Istovremeno mi se ljutimo na njega
At the same time we start to be angry with him
jer nam ne pruža ono što očekujemo.
because he is not delivering on our expectations.
I projekcija pravi konflikt.
And that projection starts to create the conflict.
Konflikt koga nisu svesni ni jedna ni druga osoba.
It's a conflict that neither person is aware of.
I tu se onda traže greške i dlaka u jajetu, u supi.
And then mistakes are looked for. A hair in the soup is looked for. A hair in the egg.
I iz takvih projekcija projekti isto trpe.
And because of those types of projections, projects in companies suffer.
I može da se desi da damo otkaz toj firmi.
And maybe we quit the organization.
Ili nemamo dovoljno hrabrosti da damo otkaz, pa dobijemo otkaz.
or we don't have enough courage to quit so that we get fired.
Ali nećemo bolje proći u sljedećoj firmi.
But not much better will happen in the next one.
Nećemo bolje proći ni ako osnovimo sopstveni biznis.
Even if we start our own company, it's still not going to be very fruitful.
I ovdje možemo reći polje će uvijek da nam namesti takvu situaciju.
And here we can say the field will orchestrate the situation always for us.
Da nam pomogne da se suočimo sa nedostatkom koji je u nama.
It will set up the conditions, the situations, so that we can face what is missing inside of us.
I to je u ovom primjeru odnos sa ocem.
And in this example, it's the relationship with the Father,
Nerešen odnos sa ocem.
unresolved relationship with our Father.
I tu se nalazimo opet na površini.
And there we're again at the surface,
Jer kad u takav odnos uključimo ljubav,
because when in such a relationship we introduce love,
onda nam se ta situacija ne nameće u biznisu,
that kind of situation doesn't come in business,
već nam se nameće na mestu ljubavi, na mestu partnerskih ljubavnih odnosa.
and it shows up in the intimate realm.
I daje nam šansu da uz pomoć partnera koji isto ima sličnosti kojih nije svestan, koji su u dubini,
And in intimacy, our partner is another chance for us to resolve things we need to. And that partner usually has their own unresolved things that they're trying to resolve that are similar.
da zajedno radimo na istoj temi, na zajedničkoj temi.
And we have both an opportunity to work on this issue together.
To na prvi pogled izgleda vrlo privlačno,
At first glance, this looks attractive,
ali uopšte nije jednostavno,
but it's not very simple.
jer tu dolazimo do esencijalnog,
Because there we encounter the essence,
često vrlo bolnog,
very painful often.
i najčešće nismo spremni da pogledamo u to.
And most often we're not ready to face
I
that.
propustimo još jednu šansu, umjesto da radimo na zajedničkoj temi, mi se posvađamo i raziđemo se od partnera.
And instead of working on the issue, we get in a fight, in a conflict, and we separate and lose the chance again.
I očekuje nas još veći izazov u sljedećem partnerstvu,
And what happens, either we get a bigger challenge in the next relationship,
ili ako smo imali već nekoliko brodoloma,
or if we had multiple failed relationships already,
strah da se uopšte prepuštamo dalje.
there may be a fear that stops us from entering into relationships.
Na posljednjem seminaru je došla klijentkinja
At the last seminar, a female client came,
zabrinuta za svoju sestru.
and she was very worried about her sister.
Njih je nekoliko sestara u porodici.
There are multiple sisters in that family.
Ona je najmlađa
The client was the youngest.
i jedna od sestara nema partnera i nema decu.
One of the sisters didn't have children and no partner.
3 druge sestre sve imaju po najmanje jedno ili dvoje najmanje 2 ili 3 dece.
Other 3 sisters have 2 or 3 children each.
Najmlađa ima odličan odnos sa svojim sestrom, jer ona pazi na njenu decu, vrlo je puna ljubavi s decom, ali svoju decu nema.
And the youngest, the client, has a very good relationship with the one that doesn't have children, and she takes care of the youngest children, and she's full of love. And
I kaže, šteta bi bilo da ona ostane tako, da nema dece.
And she came and she shared with me that it would be a shame, it would be a waste if she didn't have children of her own.
Ona stalno priča najružnije i o partnerstvu, o deci.
She talks badly about intimate relationships, about children, about possibilities.
I kaže da je njeno vreme prošlo, već ima 38 godina, ona je prestara za to da bude majka i da uopšte nikad ne želi ni da bude majka, niti da bude više u partnerskim odnosima.
And she openly talks about how she's too old already, she's 38 years old, and her time is gone and she doesn't want to do that, and she cannot do that, and she cannot be a mother anymore, and she can't find someone that's going to be good for her.
I kad je ona kaže da sigurno čeka njen princ na konju na nju,
and the youngest sister would tell her that there is a prince that's waiting for her somewhere.
Ona se uvek čak i naljuti na nju.
She gets angry with her.
Šta ti znaš?
What do you know?
To nije za mene.
That's not for me.
Ja sam završila s time.
I'm done with that.
Previše je ogorčena.
She is way too bitter.
Previše propuštenih šansi.
Too many lost opportunities.
Dakle, i to je jedna od mogućnosti.
And that's another possibility.
Rekao sam je da može da pogleda njen odnos sa svojom sestrom, ali ne može ona da radi ništa za svoju sestru.
The younger sister that was there, she can work on her relationship with her sister, but she cannot work for her sister. Anything for her.
Ono što može da uradi za nju, najviše što može da uradi za nju je da poštuje njenu sudbinu i njenu odluku.
And the most she can do is she can respect her destiny and respect her decisions.
Da ima pravo i ona na svoju odluku, na svoju sudbinu.
And that she has the right to her own destiny and to her own decisions.
Koliko god da joj se to ne sviđa, koliko god da je bolno.
Even if it's painful, even if she doesn't like it, that's the best she can do.
Ali ako nismo došli do tog stanja ogorčenosti,
but if we're not all the way bitter,
i još uvek verujemo u ljubav,
and we still believe in love,
to je ono što svakome mogu da preporučim.
I can warmly recommend it to everyone.
Da veruju u ljubav koja boravi u svakom od nas.
To believe in the love that lives inside of us.
Iako je ponekad uspavana možda.
Even though it's sometimes asleep.
Da dozvolimo da se ta ljubav u nama probudi.
To allow for that love to wake up.
Da volimo i da dozvolimo drugi da nas vole.
To love and to allow others to love us.
Takvi kakvi jesmo.
Exactly the way we are.
Da ne glumimo nešto što nismo i onda se razočaramo, naravno.
And not to act and be someone that we're not and then disappoint ourselves that way.
Već da se u partnerskim odnosima potpuno prepustimo.
But to in intimate relationship completely surrender.
I onda ne moramo da projektujemo ništa.
And then we don't have to project anything.
Niti da očekujemo.
And we don't have to expect anything.
Sounds an awful lot like authenticity again.
Sounds great.
There's that old chestnut popping its head up yet.
Wow. I loved what you said about loving others and allowing them to love us as we are. Is that how you wake it up when it's asleep?
Ljubav ne možemo da probudimo zato što to hoćemo ili nećemo.
Love doesn't wake up because we want to or we don't want to.
Ali ako smo potpuno otvoreni,
but if we are completely open,
bez ideje, bez očekivanja,
without an idea, without expectations,
onda dozvolimo drugome da se ogleda u našoj duši.
We allow the other to look at themselves in us.
I naše duše se prepoznaju.
And then our souls connect and recognize each other.
Da dozvolimo da otkrijemo onu lepotu koja nije vidljiva u nama.
To allow the invisible beauty to become visible inside of us.
To budi ljubav.
That's what wakes up love.
That was a great answer.
So, what about the subject of romantic attachments that are difficult to release? The person has trouble letting go of a romantic relationship that they have had, and it's interfering with their, let's say, current exploration. And I'm asking this because this is something I've encountered a few times in my own practice, and it's quite difficult for people sometimes to let go of their obsessions around the past and
Former
around them.
partners.
Yeah.
Možda vam je poznat Clausewitz sa svojom teorijom rata.
Maybe you are familiar with
Clausewitz.
Clausewitz and the theory of war.
No.
Da je rat produžetak politike drugim sredstvima.
War is the extension of politics with other means.
U partnerskim odnosima,
In the intimate relationships,
kada se raziđemo,
when we separate,
najčešće se ne razilazimo u ljubavi, jel tako?
most often we don't separate in love.
Najčešće su posljedica toga svađe.
Most often is some kind of conflict or fighting that precedes the separation.
Dakle, šta su svađe kod bivših partnera? Produžetak politike drugim sredstvima.
Conflict and fighting between partners is the continuation of politics by other means.
Dakle, rat.
So it's war.
Dakle, njihova ljubav, njihova politika, dakle, ljubav se produžava.
So the love that they had is continuing, but with other means, which is war.
Dakle, produžava se svojim naličijem.
It's continuing with its the other side of the coin.
Suprotnosti od ljubavi.
The other side of the coin of the love.
Ali i suprotnost ljubavi je opet ljubav.
The polar opposite of love is love again.
Ali onaj deo ljubavi koji nam nije baš mio.
But the other side of love that's not particularly dear to us.
I'll say that.
I to nas vezuje.
And that's what attaches us.
I nema mesta za sledeći ljubavni odnos.
And because it attaches us, there is no energetic room for the next partner.
Energetski je to mesto popunjeno.
The energetic space where a partner should reside is taken already.
Čak i ako uđete u partnerski odnos sledeći,
Even if you enter into a new relationship,
vaš sledeći partner može imati ideju da ga varate s nekim.
Your next partner can feel that you are cheating on them,
I ako to ne radite,
even though you're not cheating on them.
jer osjeća prisustvo još jedne osobe koja fizički nije tu, ali je energetski prisutna.
And the partner can feel the energetic presence of someone, even though it's not physically present.
I to energetsko prisustvo bivšeg partnera je toliko jako
And that energetic presence of the former partner is so strong
da može dovesti do toga da se raziđete od novog partnera.
that can cause a breakup in the new partnership, in the new relationship.
I u šali tu kažem,
And in a joking manner, I say to those cases,
u krevetu je gužva,
it's the bed is crowded
An unwelcome,
A krevet prazan.
and the bed is empty.
it's an unwelcomed threesome. Go ahead. Good luck on
Translate it. Nepoželjna trojka.
Da. Ili više.
Or more.
that. Yeah, well, more.
Da. Dakle, vezani smo.
We are attached.
Ako je u tom partnerstvu bilo dece,
If there were children in that relationship,
onda se naravno deca zloupotrebljavaju za rat.
children are then misused in the war.
I najveće žrtve ratova ruža su uvek deca.
And the biggest victims of the War of Roses are always children.
War of Roses.
Jer bivši partneri nisu ili su teško u stanju da razdvoje partnerstvo od roditeljstva.
Usually people have a difficult time separating intimate relationship, intimate partnership from parenting.
To su dva potpuno različita nivoa.
They're completely different levels.
Od partnera se možemo razići,
From a partner we can separate.
ali kao roditelji smo uvek zajedno.
But as parents we are always together.
Kao roditelji svoje dece nikad ne možemo da se raziđemo.
As parents of our children we can never separate.
I kada shvatimo tu odgovornost kao roditelja,
And when we accept that responsibility
onda
of
nam,
a parent,
onda nam može biti jednostavnije da se i kao partneri raziđemo u ljubavi.
that can help us accept and make possible the separation on a partnership level as well.
Ali u svakom slučaju je vrlo bitno.
But no matter what, it's very important.
I na seminarima vrlo često radimo rituale razdvajanja.
And at the seminars, we very often do rituals of separation.
Dolaze osobe koje nisu u partnerskim odnosima 10-20 godina.
People come to seminars that haven't been in a relationship for 10, 15, 20 years.
Zato što se zapravo 10, 15, 20 godina još uvijek nisu razišli od bivšeg partnera.
Because they still haven't separated from their previous relationship for all that time.
Još uvijek su vezani.
They're still attached.
Tu vreme ne igra nikakvu ulogu.
Time is irrelevant.
Nekad je bivši čak poginuo ili umro.
Sometimes the former partner is dead and it doesn't matter.
A još uvijek su vezani.
They're still attached.
Vrlo česta je pojava da je osoba ljuta na partnera zato što je umrla ili poginula.
And very often such a person can be angry or is angry with the one that passed away or had an accident or whatever it might have been.
Nekad je svesna te ljutnje, nekad nije.
And sometimes they're aware of it and sometimes they're not.
Energetski nema veze da li si svestan ili nisi.
Energetically, awareness doesn't play any role.
Ta ljutnja ih vezuje.
The anger is what attaches them.
I energetski mesto nije slobodno za sljedećeg partnera.
And energetically, the space for a partner is already taken.
Kada se vratimo u ritualu, na primjer, na mesto ljubavi,
And we do a ritual where we go back in time to the place of love when they loved each other before the fighting.
i osjetimo sve što nas je vezivalo, sve lepe i ružne
And we
stvari.
feel all the connection that we had, all the love, all the nice things and experiences and not so nice things, all the things that brought us together.
Tako je sve ružno i lepo što smo zajedno doživjeli, onda možemo da se raziđemo upravo sa tog mesta ljubavi.
And once we feel it again, the love, we can then separate in love.
I kada se raziđemo u ljubavi,
And when we separate in love,
onda više nismo vezani za bivšeg.
we are no longer attached.
Onda možemo da ga pustimo.
We're no longer attached to the former partner and we can let them go.
I mesto se oslobađa za novog.
And in that way, the space of where a partner is energetically gets freed up and opened up.
I'm understanding, first of all, everything that you've been saying is spot on, and I see that those things happen. I mean, it absolutely resonates with my experience of it, and I understand the concept, the general concept. But what might it look like when you say separate in love? That part specifically is where my mind went, wait a minute. How might someone separate in love? Is there an action or a representation that's done? How is that done?
Najjednostavnije je ako dođe na seminar i ima predstavnika za svog bivšeg ili svoju bivšu.
At the seminar, the most simple way to do that ritual is to pick a representative for their partner.
I predstavnik bez kognitivnog znanja može da uđe u energetski proces bivše ljubavi.
And that representative, without cognitive information of what they represent, can enter into the energy of the former lover.
Ponekad se dešava da je bilo toliko bola koji je stajao na putu njihove ljubavi, da osoba u predstavniku zaista oseti svoju bivšu ljubav i da se tu ponovo spoje. I na tom mestu ljubav je toliko lepo da ne želi da se razdvoje. Iako je 5 minuta pre toga rekla da hoće da se razdvoje.
What sometimes happens that people come with a wish of a new relationship and a wish of separating from a former relationship. And then when faced with a representative for the former lover, they enter into such deep resonance that it is so sweet
They don't want to leave.
that they don't want to separate.
Yeah.
I was afraid of that.
Yeah, that was thinking that too. How do you handle that?
Ali ne treba se plašiti toga.
But we should not be afraid of that.
Neophodno je dozvoliti procesima
What's important is to allow the processes
koji su se pokrenuli u tom trenutku,
that started in those moments
da se konačno ponovo osvesti ta duboka ljubav među
for
njima.
that deep love to resurface, to become conscious,
Da imaju dovoljno vremena
to allow them the time to savor
i kad,
it
se,
again in a conscious way,
i kad se napiju te ljubavi,
to re-savor
Tek
when they
onda-
drink in, when they have enough to drink of that love.
Till they're full.
tek onda dozvoliti procesima koji će ih razdvojiti.
In a natural way, from the fullness, and the separation will emerge.
Ali razdvojiti se na takav način gde sa sobom nosimo sve što smo zajedno iskusili.
It is a deeper separation in which we bring the love with us.
Sve što smo zajedno iskusili
All of the joint experiences come with us
kao naše bogatstvo.
as our treasure of experience,
I kada smo tako obogaćeni tim partnerstvom,
enriched by our journey together,
onda ne moramo u sledećem partnerstvu da ponavljamo iste greške.
we are then free not to repeat the same mistakes in the next relationship.
To znači da nas je bivši partner, bivša ljubav dobro spremila za sledećeg.
Which means that our former lover very well prepared us for our current lover.
That was amazing. I heard all kinds of amazing things just now. I really enjoy the idea of separating from a place of fullness. There's something really unique and special about that makes such good intuitive sense. Mm-hmm. It's so obvious, but it's just not something we tend to see. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Vlado, I think we mentioned this off the mic last time, but I want to point out to the listener who doesn't see you that you always wear orange. Will you talk a little bit about why that is and what it means for you?
Narandžasta boja je boja univerzalne ljubavi.
Orange color is the color of the universal love.
U vreme kada sam u dubini osetio da sam na misiji ljubavi,
And in the moment when I felt that deeply inside of me that I'm on the mission of love,
je narandžasta boja došla do mene.
The orange color just came to me.
To nije bio moj svesni izbor,
It wasn't a conscious decision.
Oh,
ali se sećam trenutka kada sam ugledao jednu narandžastu košulju koja mi se mnogo svidela.
But I remember a moment when I saw our orange shirt and I loved it.
Sećam se sad i tog mesta, svega se sećam.
I remember now the place and the exact moment when that happened.
awesome.
Pio sam kafu u kafiću u velikom tržnom centru.
I was drinking coffee in a cafe in a large shopping center.
I pored su bile košulje, u stvari bilo je čitav onaj štender sa košuljama, prodavnice. Imala kvalitetnije stvari za prodaju. I tu su bile Camel košulje, sećam se. I sve su bile narandžaste.
There was an entire store that had only orange shirts.
You're kidding.
All the way in a circle.
That's great.
I bez ideje da treba sad da kupim košulju, nije mi trebala košulja.
I didn't need a shirt, but I just...
Sam otišao, video, probao jednu.
I went and tried one on.
I mnogo dobro sam se osjećao.
And I felt really good.
I kupio sam sve košulje, te narandžaste koje su mi odgovarale, koje su bile moj broj.
And I bought all of that size that they had in the entire store.
It makes deciding what you're going to wear easy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Ne moraš da razmišljaš, šta ćeš da nosiš.
I od tada sam počeo da nosim narandžaste.
And from that moment on, I was all orange.
Mogu da kažem da se baš dobro osjećam.
I can only say that I feel really, really good in orange.
Kad nosim narandžaste.
Well, it works for you. Are you sure you didn't learn this technique from Albert Einstein?
Jesi siguran da od Einsteina nisi naučio?
He wore the same every day. His whole outfit was the same.
Stalno isto nosiš.
Ima smisla.
It makes sense.
Also, before you arrived, us friends were talking, and it was also pointed out that you are in Orange County, California, and this is called the City of Orange. So you are wearing orange in the City of Orange and the County of Orange.
And this is the Authenticity Show, which our color is orange.
Wow.
Znači da sam na pravom mestu.
I'm in the right place.
We refer to it as actually, we call it Authenticity Orange for the specific color that we use.
Home away from home.
Wow.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's great. Vlado, in your book, Culture of Conflict, there's a section in there about unconditional love. And you refer to loving the self as very important for cultivating this universal unconditional love, and that when you aren't doing that, that you're hating the self. Could you speak a little bit about that?
Da bismo voleli I da bi bili voljeni.
In order to love and to be loved,
neophodan je prvi korak.
First step is necessary.
A prvi korak je da zavolimo sebe.
And that first step is to love ourselves.
Nije teško zamisliti koliko bi bilo paradoksalno da mislimo da možemo da volimo nekog drugog ako ne volimo sebe.
it's not hard to realize that it becomes very paradoxical very quickly, that we can love someone else if we don't love ourselves.
I potpuno neautentično.
And completely inauthentic.
I niko ne može da nam veruje da ga volimo zaista.
And no one can believe us that we really love them
Ako ne volimo sebe.
if we don't love ourselves.
Niti iko može da voli nas ako mi ne volimo sebe.
And no other can love us either if we don't love ourselves.
Mi smo svi biće ljubavi.
We are all beings of love.
Bez ljubavi ne možemo da nastanemo kao biće.
Without love, we cannot exist.
Mi nastajemo u ljubavi.
We are made in love.
I ljubav je neophodna za našu egzistenciju.
And love is necessary for our existence.
Ponekad se desi da u porodici doživimo traume.
Sometimes traumas happen in our families.
Da smo razočarani u oca, u majku.
And we may be disappointed in our father or our mother.
Da ima nasilje u porodici.
That there could be violence in the family.
Ili gubitaka u porodici.
Or there could be losses in the family.
I to mesto koje je oaza ne samo ljubavi, nego je oaza snage koju možemo da dobijemo.
And the place that needs to be an oasis of love, an oasis of strength that we can receive
u porodici, u primarnoj porodici. Ako je to mesto narušeno,
if that place is disturbed,
ostaju tragovi na našoj duši.
It leaves a mark, it leaves marks on our soul.
Na primjer,
For example,
klijentkinja je imala sećanje svog detinjstva.
a client had a memory from her childhood.
To je samo jedno od mnogih koje je doprinalo tome da nema dobar odnos sa mamom.
And this is a memory that's one of many that contributed to the fact that she didn't have a good relationship with her mother.
Bila je prvi razred osnovne škole
She was in first grade.
i igrala se napolju.
She was playing outside.
Pala je i polomila zub, prednji zub.
She fell and broke her front tooth.
I jako je bolelo.
She was hurting a lot.
U suzama je otišla se požali majci.
She was crying and she went to see her mother.
Majka je ošamarila.
And the mother slapped her.
Rekla, si ti normalna?
Are you crazy? She said.
Zašto nisi pazila?
Why weren't you careful?
Pa tek ti je izrastao novi zub.
Your tooth just came out.
Treba je da ti služi celog tvog života.
That tooth needed to last your entire life.
A ti si ga već sada polomila.
And you broke it already.
Mislim da nije jednostavno zamisliti dubinu takvog bola koji se doživi u detinjstvu.
It's not simple to imagine the amount of pain that could be experienced in a moment like that.
Ili sličnih događaja koje doživimo.
The magnitude of pain of such an experience or similar experiences.
Ili doživljavamo kako se roditelji svađaju.
Or experience the fighting between the parents.
Ili tuku.
Or fighting physically.
I hteli bi nekako da to popravimo.
And as children we want to make it better.
Možda radimo na tome.
Maybe we are working on it.
Ili to pokušavamo da zaboravimo.
Or we're trying to forget it.
I zatrpavamo duboko.
And we bury it inside of us.
I to se pretvara u naše tamne mrlje.
And that becomes our dark spots. Those become our dark spots inside of us.
Tamne mrlje u koje ne želimo da pogledamo.
Dark spots that we don't want to look into.
Zato što su bolne.
Because they're painful.
I kad pogledamo sa strane,
And when we look from the outside, from the side,
kako nastaju te tamne mrlje?
how did those dark spots get created?
To su otpori koje imamo prema tati i mami.
Those are the resistances that we have towards our mother and father.
Zbog šamara,
Because of that slap,
zbog nepravde koju smo
because of
doživjeli,
injustice that we might have lived through,
kritike,
or criticism,
čega god.
or whatever it might have been.
I pretvori smo se u leoparda.
And we become like a leopard.
Tamna mrlja do tamne mrlje,
Dark spot next to a dark spot.
a rekli smo na početku da smo bića ljubavi.
But in the beginning we said that we are the beings of love.
U tim tamnim mrljama nema ljubavi.
In those dark spots there is no love.
To jest, ljubav postoji, ali je zatrpana tamnom mrljom.
More correctly, love does exist, but it's buried under the dark spots.
Jer u stvari te tamne mrlje ne volimo.
Because we don't love those dark spots.
I kao bića ljubavi onda izvadimo džoker iz rukava
And as beings of love, we pull an ace from our sleeve
i nađemo budalu da nas voli.
and we find the fool that will love us.
Kako može neko da voli nas ako mi imamo toliko tamnih mrlja koje ne volimo, znači ne volimo sebe?
How can someone love us when we have so many dark spots, that so many places where we don't love ourselves?
Ili je lud ili je slep.
He either has to be crazy or blind,
Ili jedno i drugo.
or both.
Kako mi možemo da volimo nekog, a toliko ne volimo sebe?
How can we love someone and we don't love ourselves so much?
Možemo da glumimo,
We can act,
ali vrlo brzo bivamo raskrinkani.
but very quickly we get found out.
Postoji i bezuslovna ljubav,
There is such a thing as unconditional love,
ali to nije ona ljubav o kojoj većina sanja.
but that's not the love that most of the population dreams about.
To nije partnerska ljubav.
It's not an intimate relationship love,
Iako sanjamo o tome da nas partner voli bezuslovno.
even though we dream about our partner loving us unconditionally.
To nije zdravo.
It's not a healthy way.
Tu projektujemo nešto.
It's a projected
Kao
way.
što si rekao na početku našeg razgovora.
Just as you said at the beginning.
Znači, projektujemo nedostatak ljubavi tate ili mame
We're projecting the lack of the love of the mother or the father,
jer ko voli bezuslovno?
because who loves unconditionally?
Bog voli bezuslovno.
God loves unconditionally.
Tata voli bezuslovno.
The father loves unconditionally.
Mama voli bezuslovno.
The mother loves unconditionally.
Ne morate ništa da uradite,
You don't have to do anything.
mama vas voli.
Your mother will love you.
Iako ponekad možda to ne pokazuje, niti možda mi dozvoljavamo da osetimo tu količinu ljubavi.
Even though the mother may not be able to express it, or we may not allow it to reach us,
Ali ta bezuslovna ljubav koja dolazi od mame i tate je uvek tu.
but that unconditional love that's coming from the mother and father is always there.
I ako iz nekog razloga u detinjstvu nismo osetili dovoljno te bezuslovne ljubavi od tate i mame,
And if for some reason in childhood we didn't feel enough of that unconditional love,
onda očekujemo da nas partner voli bezuslovno.
then we can expect our partner to love us that way.
A to nije nemoguće.
And
To je
that's-
nemoguće.
That's
To je-
impossible.
To je nemoguće. I na takav način opterećujemo partnerstvo i
And in
partnere.
that way we are burdening the relationship.
Da ne bi privlačili budale da nas vole.
In order not to attract a fool to love us,
Prvi je korak
first step,
da se vratimo u detinjstvo,
is to go back to childhood,
u vreme kada se nije desila još nijedna trauma
before any trauma had a chance to occur,
i da tu pogledamo tatu
and there to look at our Father
i da osetimo tu bezuslovnu ljubav koja dolazi od njega ka nama.
and in that time and place to feel the unconditional love flowing from our Father to us,
I da mu odgovorimo na isti način.
and to respond in the same way.
Tata, ja te volim takvog kakav jesi.
Father, I love you just the way you are.
To nekad nije jednostavno,
Sometimes that isn't very simple,
ali je moguće.
but it's possible.
I ne samo reći,
Not only to say it,
već zaista osetiti tu ljubav koju, kako izgovaramo, tata, ja te volim
but to
takvog kakav
really
jesi.
feel that love, that Dad, I love you just the way you are.
Šta to znači?
What does that mean?
Volim i onaj trenutak kad sam dobio šamar od tebe.
I love even the moment when I was slapped,
I nisam više u otporu prema tome.
and I'm no longer in resistance to that.
Volim i sve ono što mi se ne sviđa u tom ophođenju prema meni i svim drugim ljudima na svetu.
I love all the things I don't like about how you relate to me and the world.
Volim način kako si voleo ili voliš moju mamu.
I love the way you love or loved my mother,
I ne kritikujem to, niti vrednujem.
and I don't critique or evaluate or judge any of that.
Volim te takvo kakav jesi.
I love you just the way you are.
Kada to zaista uspem,
When we really succeed in this,
otpori prema ocu nestaju.
the resistance towards the Father disappear.
Tamne mrlje nestaju.
The dark spots all disappear.
I time nestaju lanci lojalnosti.
And with that, the chains of loyalty disappear.
Svaka tamna mrlja i otpor prema ocu je zapravo lanac lojalnosti.
Every dark spot and every resistance towards the Father is a chain of loyalty,
koja nas tera da se ponašamo isto kao što se ponašao tata.
which makes us behave just like the Father behaved.
Ako, na primjer,
If, for example,
tata je bio alkoholičar,
the father was an alcoholic,
zbog toga je bilo nasilje u porodici.
and because of that, there was violence in the family.
I ja imam otpor prema alkoholizmu.
I can develop a resistance to alcohol,
I neću da okusim alkohol.
and I don't want to ever taste it.
Ja zapravo nemam otpor prema alkoholu.
So my resistance isn't really towards alcohol.
Ja imam otpor prema alkoholizmu moga oca koji živi u meni.
I have a resistance to the alcoholism that my father has that lives inside me.
I to ima veliku šansu da privuče partnera alkoholičara.
And that resistance has a large possibility of attracting a partner that is an alcoholic,
Koji će u velikoj ljubavi prema meni da postane alkoholičar umjesto mene.
which will, out of great love, become the alcoholic instead of me.
Ali ja neću da mu budem zahvalan zato što je on alkoholičar.
But I'm not going to be grateful for him stepping in and becoming an alcoholic for me.
Neću to da prepoznam.
I'm not going to recognize that.
Nego ću zato da se naljutim na partnera i da ga ostavim.
I am going to become angry with my partner because of that, and I'm going to leave him.
A u stvari je partner sa svojim alkoholizmom došao da mi ukaže da moram da pogledam zašto sam ja u tolikom otporu prema alkoholizmu.
And what I need to do is I need to realize that I need to look at why am I in such deep resistance to this, and use the gift that my partner is giving me to look deeply inside of myself.
Imamo jednu anegdotu zajedničku
We have together an anecdote
gde je jedan učesnik znao da je drugi učesnik homoseksualac.
where one participant knew that another participant was gay.
I kaže, uopšte mi nije bilo jednostavno kad on je još došao da me zagrli.
I was very uncomfortable when he came to give me a hug.
Osjećao sam se vrlo neprijatno u tom zagrlju.
I felt very uncomfortable in that hug.
Ja sam ga pitao zašto.
I asked him, why is that?
Očigledno da trebaš da pogledaš šta je sa homoseksualcem koji se krije u tebi.
That you need to look inside of yourself to see what is happening with the homosexual inside you.
And they just loved it when he said that. Like, they really enjoyed that, didn't they?
Sutradan je odmah došao da zagrli tog istog homoseksualca.
Tomorrow he was going voluntarily to give hugs to all the gay people.
Dakle, kad smo u otporu prema nečemu, postoji dublji razlog zašto je to tako u nama.
When we're in resistance to something, there's a deeper reason why we are in resistance.
I na jedan ili drugi način upravo to prema čemu smo u otporu privlačimo i ponavljamo sudbinu toga.
And in one way or another, whatever we're in resistance to, we are attracting and repeating.
Ali kad zavolimo tatu takvu kakav jeste,
But when we love our Father the way He is,
otpori nestaju, tamne mrlje nestaju.
resistance disappears and the dark spots disappear.
To je prvi korak.
That's the first step.
Sljedeći korak je
Next step
isto tako u detinjstvu
is the same way going back into childhood,
pogledati mamu
looking at your mother
i reći mama, ja te volim takvu kakva jesi.
and tell your mother, I love you just the way you are.
Ne samo reći, već to i osjetiti.
Not only say it, but feel it.
I na isti način se suočiti sa svim što je vezano za mamu.
And in the same way, face everything that's connected with the mother.
I kada zaista zavolimo mamu takvu kakva jeste,
And when we really love our mother just the way she is,
sa svim onim što nam se ne sviđa u mami,
with everything that we don't like about her,
da to prepustimo da bude mamino
that we allow her all of those behaviors,
i da volimo mamu.
to let them be hers and to love her.
Nestaju tamne mrlje,
The dark spots disappear,
nestaju otpori
the resistance disappears,
i ne moramo da ponavljamo maminu sudbinu.
and we no longer have to repeat our mother's destiny.
Mi jesmo naš tata i naša mama,
We are our mother and our father,
ali mi smo i nešto sasvim drugačije.
but we are something completely different too.
Ali dok ponavljamo sudbinu tate ili sudbinu mame
But while we're repeating the destiny of the mother and the father
kroz naše otpore prema njima,
through our resistance towards them,
ta naša jedinstvenost ne može da dođe do izražaja.
the uniqueness of ours cannot fully express.
Nemamo vremena za to.
We don't have the time to express it.
Previše smo zauzeti bavljenjem njima,
We are too preoccupied with dealing with the mother and father,
više nesvesno nego svesno.
unconsciously more than consciously.
Ali kad zavolimo njih takve kakve jesu,
But when we love them just the way they are,
iz semena koje je posejano, iz semena naše različitosti,
from the seed of our uniqueness,
počinje da se razvija klica nečeg novog u nama.
a new thing sprout.
I ona doprinosi da se iz nas razvije nešto sasvim drugačije.
And the seed that sprouts in a new way develops something completely new and unique to us alone.
Sa dobrim korenima,
with good roots,
povezani sa
connected
našim
with
predsima
our
preko tate i mame,
ancestors and our mother and father,
ali potpuno nešto novo.
but completely something new.
I to novo sada privlači partnera.
And that new can now attract a partner.
Znači, tek sada smo spremni da nas neko voli.
And that's the first time we're ready for someone to love us.
Jer prvi put volimo sebe takvi kakvi jesmo.
Because for the first time we love ourselves just the way we are.
I onda može da nas voli neko drugi takvi kakvi jesmo.
And then someone else can love us just the way we are.
Ne moramo da glumimo nešto što nismo da bi privukli da nas neko voli.
We don't have to act something that we're not in order to attract someone to love us.
Nego smo upravo svim svojim bićem takvi kakvi jesmo i time privlačimo da nas voli neko drugi.
But we are actually fully the way we are, and by being ourselves fully, we attract someone to love us.
I time kako smo naučili da volimo sebe, tako možemo i mi da volimo druge.
In the same way we learn how to love ourselves, we can learn how to love others.
Naravno, možemo i dalje ostati u starom.
Of course, we can also stay in the old.
Možemo reći partneru, vidiš kako ja radim na sebi.
We can tell our partner, you see how much I'm working on myself.
Pohađam seminare.
I'm attending seminars.
Stalno radim na sebi.
I'm always working on myself.
Moraš i ti da radiš na sebi.
You know, you should work on yourself.
Da bi se bolje voljeli.
So we can love each other.
Ako želite da najurite partnera od sebe,
if you want to chase away your partner,
samo mu recite da treba da radi na sebi.
Just tell them they need to work on themselves.
To je pravi recept kako da se otarasite napasti.
It's a perfect recipe for how to get rid of the pest.
Ako želite da zadržite partnera,
if you'd like to keep a partner,
da se volite,
so that you can love each other,
da uživate u toj ljubavi,
and you can enjoy all that love,
recite partneru ono što ste naučili u školi života.
Tell your partner what you've learned in the school of life.
Ja te volim takvu kakva jesi.
I love you just the way you are.
Takvog kakav jesi.
I love you just the way you are.
To oslobađa partnera.
That frees up the partner.
Da mora nešto da brani od nas.
To not have to defend anything from us.
Kao da ga mi napadamo zbog nečega.
As if we were attacking him.
I dozvoljavamo da možda nešto i promeni.
And loving them just the way they are, we give them the freedom to change whatever they want.
Ali mi ne zahtevamo ništa.
But we don't demand anything.
Mi volimo partnera tako kakav jeste.
We love them just the way they are.
To doprinosi da ljubav raste.
That contributes for the love to grow.
I tu dolaze onda sljedeći koraci.
And then next steps happen.
Wow.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, that was so many layers in that. And I feel like that's a wonderful place to come to a pause, because there's just so much in what you just said to be thinking about and feeling and exploring.
I feel like this entire conversation was meant for me to hear right now, tonight.
Yeah.
There was so much that I've already benefited from having this conversation. And I'm feeling very grateful for this conversation. Thank you.
Yeah, this conversation is really speaks to what the show's about. Mm-hmm. I mean, I keep hearing translation, subtext, authenticity. Translation, authenticity. Translation, authenticity.
Everything we learned tonight would promote health.
Yeah.
You know, it's creative, you know, and it really, really is a pathway towards excellence.
Yes.
You know, and I'm pretty amazed right now. Thank you.
Yeah, I feel enriched. Very enriched. Vlado, thank you so much for sharing. Ivan, thank you so much for sharing with us.
Thank you.
Satch, thank you.
Carlos, thank you.
You've been listening to The Authenticity Show with your hosts, Carlos Casados and Satch Purcell. Very special thanks to Vlado Ilic and Ivan Polic. If you'd like to find out more about Vlado's work, you can go to orderoflove.com. That's right, orderoflove.com. My name is Oliver Altine. I record, edit, and produce this show. I also wrote the theme music, which you're listening to right now. Please subscribe to The Authenticity Show wherever you get your podcasts and find us on social media. We would love to connect with you there. And our website is authenticityshow.com. Thanks for listening and have an authentic day.